Hello everyone, this is Pet Crochets. Welcome back to my channel. Look at this dress, you guys. This is the first dress I've ever crocheted. As many of you know, I started crocheting less than a year ago and I've only been making mostly tops and bottoms, and I really want to try making a dress, and this is what I came up with. Look at that pattern. It is so beautiful. It has a little butterfly detail at the top. I added Picot hemming and some pearl beads at the ends of the ties. This dress is just gorgeous. It's flattering. I wore it to a picnic. Look at that. It is so cute. You can wear this dress with some nude undergarments, a slip. I also threw a sheer shawl over it to give myself a little bit more coverage, but initially it was intended to wear as a pool or beach cover-up, but you can really experiment and play around with how you style this dress. As always, this dress is going to be measurement based, so you can really customize it to your liking and play around with different textures and colors of yarn. This is the sheer shawl I was talking about, so it gives me extra coverage but you're still able to see the pattern and detail of the dress underneath. We had a nice little picnic this weekend. Naru got some extra treats as well for being a good girl. We just had a wonderful day. I plan on making many more dresses. I'm definitely hooked. If you guys like my content, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I have a lot more tutorials on the way very soon. As always, thank you so much for supporting my channel. I'm so excited that I get to share this project with you all and this crochet journey. Let's get started with the dress. We're going to begin with the bust panel. We're going to start with a slip knot, and we're going to be making foundation half double crochet stitches. So you're going to want to do a chain up of 3. Now you're going to yarn over and back into that very first chain you made, making sure to go through the front and the back loops. We're going to pull up a loop. Now we're going to yarn over and go through the top loop, which will be the foundation stitch, and then yarn over and go through 3 loops on your hook for a half double crochet. And we're always working in this V stitch in the back closest to the yarn. Let's do another one. So we're pulling up a loop by putting our hook into that V stitch in the back, yarn over, pull through the top loop, which is the foundation stitch, and then do a half double crochet. So yarn over and pull through 3 loops on your hook. Now we're going to be making one more half double crochet stitch. So we're pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through the top loop, which is the foundation stitch, yarn over, pull through 3 loops on your hook for a half double crochet. Now we have 3 stitches. For our next row, we're going to chain up 2 and turn our work. We're going to be increasing, so we're going to place a half double crochet into every single stitch, and into the second stitch or the middle stitch, we'll be adding 3 half double crochet. So here's my first half double crochet into the very first stitch. And now we're at the middle stitch or the second stitch, and I'm going to be placing 2 half double crochets. So here's my first half double crochet. Now back into the very same stitch, I'm placing another half double crochet. I like to put a stitch marker after I place my second half double crochet, just so I know where the middle is. So I'm going to place a stitch marker. And now back into that very same stitch, we're placing one last half double crochet for a total of 3 half double crochets. Essentially, we're increasing by 2 stitches here. Now you're going to finish the row with one last half double crochet into that very last stitch. For the next row, we're chaining up 2 and turning our work. This row, we're just going to be half double crocheting into every single stitch, and we're not going to be doing any increases, so we're not adding those 3 extra half double crochets into the middle stitch. So here I'm adding a half double crochet into every single stitch. I'm going to take the stitch marker out, and into that stitch I'm just placing 1 half double crochet. And then I'm going to put the stitch marker right back just so I know where that middle stitch is. So you're going to put the stitch marker back and then continue to do half double crochets into every single stitch all the way to the end. We're ready for the next row, so we're going to do a chain up of 2 and we're going to turn our work. Now for this row we are going to be doing an increase, so you're going to half double crochet into every single stitch, and once you reach the stitch marker right here, we're placing 3 half double crochets into the stitch. So once again we're increasing by 2 stitches. So here is my first half double crochet, my second half double crochet, and you're going to place your stitch marker back after you do the second half double crochet so you know where the middle stitch is. And then back into that very same stitch we're placing 1 more half double crochet. Then you're just going to continue half double crocheting until the end of the row. This will be the pattern you're going to keep repeating, so you're going to alternate between no increase rows and increase rows using half double crochet until the bust panel triangle is big enough to cover your breast. However, if you feel like this panel is not increasing quickly enough and giving you enough coverage, you can definitely start doing a different pattern of alternating the rows. So you can increase 2 rows and no increase in 1 row. You can increase 3 rows, no increase 1 row. So kind of play around with this pattern to see what will work best for you. So I kept going until the bottom reached about 6.5 inches, and this was enough to cover my breast. I am a 32A for reference. Now I'm going to be placing one last row. I won't be increasing, so I won't need the stitch marker, and here I'm just taking that out. To do this last row, you're going to chain up 2 and turn your work. And now you're going to be increasing into the very first stitch and last stitch. So place 2 half double crochets into the very first stitch. So here's my first, and back into the very same stitch, another half double crochet. Then you're going to half double crochet all the way down to the last stitch and place 2 half double crochets into the stitch. So here's my first half double crochet into the last stitch and back into that very same stitch, one last half double crochet. I'm just extending the ends a bit. Now we're going to chain up 1 and we're turning our work to the side. We're going to be placing single crochet stitches along the perimeter, and I'm placing 2 into the corner. So here's my first one, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on a hook, and my second single crochet into that corner. And now I'm going to be placing single crochets along the entire perimeter. I'm not doing any particular pattern for this, I'm just putting my hook in and making sure that these single crochet stitches are even. There's no clear stitches to go into at this point. We're going to go all the way to the top, all the way back down, put 2 single crochets into that corner, and then I'll meet you back when you end at the beginning. Once you finish, you can chain up 1, cut the yarn and pull it through. That's my first panel, and then you're going to do the same exact steps all over again for the second bust panel. However, for this panel, you're not going to chain up 1 and cut the yarn. You're going to keep your hook in the yarn because we're going to continue from here. To join the 2 panels together, you're going to find the corner stitch of the other bust panel, making sure that both of the seams are side down, seam side down. And we're going to join the 2 panels with a slip stitch. So you're pulling the yarn all the way through to the other side. As you can see, now the corners of the bust panels are joined together. From here you can chain up 1, cut your yarn and pull it through to secure it. So far we have our 2 bust panels that are joined together in the center. Now we're going to start working on adding rows to this. So we're going to start off with a slip knot. We're going to find the corner stitch of one of the bust panels and pull the slip knot through that stitch. And now we're going to start adding slip stitches along this entire edge. So you're going to put your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, and then pull it through to the other side as well. And you're going to do these slip stitches along this entire edge, so along the entire bottom of the first bust panel. And you're placing 1 in the center as well, where you join the 2 panels together. And then you're going to keep going down to the other side for the other panel. So don't forget to place 1 right here in the center where we join the 2 panels together. Once we get to the end, we're going to chain up 2 and turn our work, and we're going to do a row of double crochet. So you're going to put your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 2 more for a double crochet. So a double crochet into every single stitch all the way down. So this is what we have so far. We're now going to be working on the peekaboo section of the dress, so that little patch of skin or that little empty space, triangular space. So you can go ahead and grab 2 stitch markers and count off how many stitches from the end of the row to where you want the peekaboo section to be, just so it's even, and mark it off so you know where to begin and where to end. So here I'm just marking off the other panel. For the other side, I kind of already started and just crocheted up to that point. So I'm just measuring to make sure that both sides are even. And now what you're going to do is you're going to be at the beginning of the row. So you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to slip stitch until you reach that first stitch marker where you want the peekaboo section to begin. And I'll meet you back. We're now going to make the chain, so we're going to make a chain that's long enough to reach the other bust panel. However, you also want to make sure that the total number of stitches, so the stitches before the chain, the stitches on the chain, and the stitches after the chain when we connect it to the other side, amount to a number that is a multiple of 8 plus 1. This will make sense when we do the lace row. So I had a total of 97 stitches when I completed this section. And you can kind of just keep measuring it up against the other side like so, just to make sure that's long enough. And this will give you an idea of how that peekaboo section is going to start to look. It's going to look like this. It's going to be a little triangular section. Once your chain is long enough, you can go ahead and remove that stitch marker, and you can join this chain to the other side with a slip stitch. So you're going to put your hook into that stitch and pull the yarn all the way through to the other side, and that will connect the chain to the other bust panel. Now, like the other side, we're going to just start slip stitching into every single stitch until we reach the end of the row. So I'm going to keep slip stitching and I'll meet you at the end. Now we're at the end, we're going to chain up 2 and turn our work for the next row. And for this row, we're just going to be double crocheting into every single stitch. So placing a double crochet every single stitch all the way down. I'll show you how we're going to be placing the double crochets across this chain here and to the other side. So I made it to that chain, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be placing a double crochet into the back bumps of the chain. It might be a little bit difficult to see. You don't have to do this. I just find that it makes the stitches a little neater. You can place your hook into the chain directly and do a double crochet, but as you can see here, I'm placing my hook into this back bump. So I turn the chain around and there should be little bumps, and I'm placing the double crochet there. For the next row, we're going to begin working on our butterfly. So I want you to pause the video here and kind of figure out how you want your butterflies to be spaced out and how many you would like, depending on how many stitches you have so far. You need about 9 stitches to do the butterfly. So I placed 3 butterflies and I counted the stitches to make sure that there was going to be an equal amount of stitches at the end of the row, at the beginning, and between the butterflies. So to start the first wing of the butterfly, you're going to chain up 7. Then you're going to count 8 stitches, and into that 8th stitch, we're going to be doing a double crochet. So this will be the first wing of our butterfly. And you're just going to double crochet down until you're ready for your next butterfly. So for everyone that will be different depending on how many you do and how you space out and place the butterfly. It helped me to kind of draw out a diagram and figure out how many stitches I had, and did a little bit of math to figure out how I want them to be spaced out. So here's my second butterfly. I'm chaining up 7. Counting 8 stitches from the chain, and then into that 8th stitch I'm doing a double crochet. So here's my second butterfly. And then I did one more for a total of 3 butterflies. So as you can see, I have an equal number at the beginning of the row, the end, and between the butterflies. For this next row, we're chaining up 1 and turning our work. We're going to be double crocheting into every single stitch, and you're going to double crochet up until you get to that chain that we made in the previous row. So just double crochet until we reach that chain, and I'll meet you at that last stitch. I just want to show you guys that this is the last stitch. It might be a little bit hard to see, but that's the last stitch before the chain. So make sure you place a double crochet there. Now for our second set of wings, we're going to once again chain up 7. And we no longer need to count stitches because we have that previous row, so you're going to double crochet into that first double crochet there, or the next double crochet stitch after the chain. And you're going to place a double crochet. You're going to do this for all of your butterflies, so you're going to double crochet into every single stitch, and once you reach that chain, you're going to do a chain up of 7 and then double crochet into the next double crochet stitch. For the next row, we're doing a chain up of 1 and turning our work, and once again we're going to double crochet to the stitch right before that butterfly chain that we made in the previous row. So just double crochet into every single stitch, and I'll meet you when we get to that chain. We made it to the chain. Once again, I'm going to show you how to do the double crochet into that very last stitch. This time we're placing another double crochet into that stitch, so a total of 2 double crochet into that stitch right before the chain. Now you're going to chain up 2. We're going to be doing a treble stitch, so you're going to yarn over twice, and then you're going to reach all the way down to that row right before we did the chain row, and you're going to treble stitch into the 4th stitch. So you're going to count 4 stitches right there, that's the center. Put our hook in, grab the yarn, and you're going to pull up to the height of the hook, and we're going to do a treble stitch. You're going to pull over 2 loops 3 times for a treble stitch, and that will make the body of the butterfly. Now we're going to chain up 2, and in the next double crochet stitch we're going to be placing 2 double crochets. So like we did with the other side, we're placing 2 double crochets into that first double crochet stitch, and that will complete your butterfly. So you're going to repeat this for all of your other butterflies as well to create the body of the butterfly and tie everything together. Once we reach the end, we're going to chain up 2 and turn our work, and we're going to be double crocheting into every single stitch. You can double crochet into every single stitch, and I'll show you how to double crochet for the portion of the butterfly. I'll meet you back at the butterfly. For the butterfly portion, we're going to place 2 double crochets into that treble stitch. So that body of the butterfly, I placed 2 double crochet. Now we're going to place a double crochet into each of the chains that we made for the wing portion. So remember, we did 2 chains, so you're just going to put your hook into the chain and do a double crochet. So you should be doing 2 double crochets for this portion. And now you're just going to double crochet normally across the entire row and repeat this process for the other butterflies as well. Once you've completed that last double crochet row, we're going to now begin the lace row. So we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work, and we're going to begin with a single crochet into the first stitch. Once we have that single crochet, we're going to chain up 5. Now we're going to count down 4 stitches from that chain that we just made. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And into that 4th stitch from the chain, we're going to be doing a single crochet. Now we're going to repeat the pattern. So this is a pattern for this row. We're going to chain up 5, count 4 stitches, and into that 4th stitch, a single crochet. And this is why we needed to do a multiple of 8 plus 1 way back in the beginning when we were doing the butterfly section or the peekaboo section, because for this section we need this multiple of 8 plus 1 in order to complete the lace. So you're going to keep doing this all the way down, and you should finish with the last chain up of 5 and one last single crochet at the end of the row. For the next row, we're going to be chaining up 5 and turning our work. Now into that chain 5 space that we have earlier, we're going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to chain up 5, and into the next chain 5 space a single crochet. And we're going to do this all the way down. I'll show you what to do when we reach the end of this row. So once again, chain up 5 and single crochet into that chain 5 space until we reach the end. We've now made it to the end. For that last stitch, we're going to chain up 2. So I just did a single crochet into that very last chain space. I'm chaining up 2, and into that last single crochet stitch right there, we're going to do a double crochet. So that was the first single crochet we did in the previous row. We're placing a double crochet there. This is what it should look like so far. Now for the next row, we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work. Into that first double crochet space that we just made, we're going to do a single crochet. Now into that very next single crochet stitch right there, we're going to be placing 5 double crochet. So here's my first double crochet, back into that same stitch, another double crochet, my third double crochet, my fourth double crochet, and here is my fifth and final double crochet. So this is going to create that little shell or fan-like design. So 5 double crochet into that single crochet space. Now into that next chain 5 space, we're just going to do a single crochet to secure that fan. And then we're going to be doing a chain up of 5. And into that next chain 5 space right there, we're going to do a single crochet. And from here the pattern will repeat. So you're going to find that next single crochet at the end of that chain 5 space, and we're going to be placing 5 double crochets to create that fan. So here's my second double crochet, my third double crochet, all into the very same stitch. And my fifth double crochet. And now into the next chain 5 space, we do a single crochet to secure the fan, chain 5 and single crochet into the next chain 5, and I'll show you what to do at the end of the row. For demonstration purposes, I'm using a thicker yarn. I'll show the next row as well, but then go back to that original yarn. So at the end, we're going to chain up 5. We just did our single crochet to secure our last fan. And instead of single crocheting straight into that chain 5 space, we're going to single crochet into the third chain. So you're going to count the third chain or the middle chain of that chain up of 5 we did earlier. And that will end the row. Now when we begin the next row, we're going to do a chain up of 5 and turn our work. And we're going to be placing a single crochet into that chain 5 space, the very next chain 5 space. And that's how we'll start the next row. From there, we're going to do a chain up of 3, and we're going to find the third stitch on that fan that we made earlier, or that middle stitch of the fan, and we're going to place a single crochet. Now we'll repeat the pattern, so chain 5, into the chain 5 space, we do a single crochet, then you're going to chain 3, and into the third stitch on the fan, you're going to place another single crochet. So let's go back to our yarn that we were using earlier, and we're going to start that pattern that I demonstrated. So chain 5 into that next chain 5 space, a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 3, and we're going to find that third double crochet stitch on the fan. So 1, 2, 3, the center, and we're going to place a single crochet right there. And now we're going to repeat the pattern. So we're going to chain 5 into the next chain 5 space. We're placing a single crochet. I realized that I only did 3 chains, but ignore that. We're doing a chain 5, not chain 3. The next one's going to be on the fan stitch, so we chain 3, find the third double crochet or the middle of that fan and place a single crochet. And you're going to do this all the way down to the end, and I'll show you what to do for the very end of this row. Okay, we made it to that last fan stitch. We place a single crochet, and now we're going to do a chain up of 1, and we're placing a double crochet into that single crochet space that we made in the previous row. And that will finish this row. This is what it should look like. The next row, we're going to start with a chain up of 2 and turn our work. And now we're placing double crochets. So we're going to start with a double crochet on the top of that double crochet stitch we made in the previous row. Into that chain space, we're placing a double crochet. And now we're going to place a double crochet in the top of that single crochet stitch. Into this chain space, we'll be placing 3 double crochet. And from here, the pattern will be repeated. So we're placing 3 double crochets into the chain space. And 1 double crochet in the top of the single crochet stitch. Once again, 3 double crochets into this chain space. Here's my second double crochet, my third double crochet, and into the top of that single crochet stitch, a double crochet. When you get to the end of the row, you're going to end with a double crochet into that single crochet stitch. And for the final double crochet stitch, we're going to place that into the third chain of that chain up of 5 all the way at the end, and that will finish our row. At the end, you should count your stitches and make sure that you have the same amount of stitches that you started with. So for me, that was 97 stitches. Now we're going to chain up 2 and turn our work, and we're going to be double crocheting into every single stitch. So this is the basic pattern that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing this strip of lace, and once we complete the double crochet row for that lace bit, then we do 2 rows of double crochet in between. I'm going to add 1 more row of double crochet after this row, and then repeat the entire pattern for that lace 1 more time. So here I have my 2 rows of lace. I just completed the double crochet row to close off that lace portion. And now we're going to start our increases. So to do an increase, we're going to add 2 double crochets into the very first stitch and 2 double crochets into the very last stitch for the next 2 double crochet rows. Remember, we have 2 rows of double crochet in between these lace parts. So you're going to chain up 2, turn your work, and here's my first double crochet into that first stitch. Now I'm placing 1 more double crochet into that very same stitch for an increase. So I increased by 1 here. I'm going to double crochet down the rest of this row, and into the final stitch I'm doing the same thing. So here's my first double crochet into that final stitch, and 1 more double crochet into that very same stitch. Now we're going to chain up 2 and turn our work. And once again for this row, we're also increasing. So into the very first stitch, we're placing 2 double crochets. And into the very last stitch, we're placing 2 double crochets. Essentially, we're increasing by multiples of 4 between the lace panels. And because we're increasing by 4 and not by 8 like we needed for our original stitch count, the lace portion for this next bit is going to be slightly different. So I'll show you in a bigger diagram with thicker yarn, how it's going to look and how different it's going to be. We just completed the final increase, and now we're ready to begin the lace portion once again. So we're chaining up 1, turning our work. We're going to single crochet into that first stitch. And like we did earlier, we're going to chain up 5 and we're going to skip down 4 stitches and single crochet into the 4th stitch. This row will remain the same as we were doing before. It's only after we get to those fan stitches that's going to change very slightly. So we're going to repeat that pattern of chain 5 and single crocheting into the 4th stitch from the chain all the way down to the end. We now made it to our second row for the lace. This will also be the same as we were doing before, so we're going to start off with a chain up of 5 and we're going to single crochet into the first chain space. Now we're going to chain up 5 once again and then place a single crochet into the next chain 5 space, and we're doing this all the way down. I'll show you again what we do when we get to the very end of this row. At the end of the row, we did our last single crochet. Now we're going to chain up 2 and we're going to double crochet into that final single crochet stitch. This is the single crochet stitch we started with in the previous row. Now we will chain up 1 and turn our work. We're going to single crochet into that double crochet stitch that we made in the previous row. And we're going to find that single crochet stitch, the next single crochet stitch, and place 5 double crochet. So let's do this together. Here's my first double crochet stitch into that single crochet stitch, my second double crochet, third double crochet all into the same stitch, fourth double crochet, and my fifth double crochet to create that fan-like pattern. Now to secure the fan, we're going to find the next chain 5 space and do a single crochet, and we're going to chain up 5 and single crochet into the next chain 5 space. So right here we're placing a single crochet. Once again, we're going to place 5 double crochets, so you're not chaining, you're just going directly into that next single crochet stitch and doing 5 double crochets. So here's my first double crochet, my second double crochet, my third double crochet all into the same stitch, fourth double crochet, and one last double crochet to create that fan. Now to secure this fan, we're going to go into the next chain 5 space and do a single crochet, and from here we're going to continue repeating the pattern. The end of this row is going to be slightly different. If you remember back to the previous row we did, we ended by making a chain 5 and single crocheting into the third chain from that chain up of 5. Now we're going to be ending on a fan stitch, so without chaining anything, we're just going to single crochet into the third chain of that chain up of 5 right there. To begin the next row, we're going to chain up 3 and turn our work. In the previous lace row, we did a chain up of 5, but now we're chaining up 3. We're finding that third double crochet on the fan stitch and doing a single crochet, chaining up 5 and into the next chain space, doing a single crochet. So the pattern will be similar again here. It will repeat again as the previous lace rows. We chain up 3 and into the third double crochet of the fan stitch, we do a single crochet. At the end, we chain up 1 and we double crochet into that final single crochet stitch. And this is what the lace will look like. So it's slightly different. The 2 rows are slightly different. So here's the ending of that fan stitch. We're single crocheting into the third chain after we made that fan stitch without chaining. As I demonstrated earlier, to begin the next row, we're going to chain up 3. We're not chaining up 5, we're chaining up 3. And we're going to find that third double crochet stitch on the fan stitch and do a single crochet. From here, we continue that pattern. So we chain up 5, single crochet into the chain 5 space, chain up 3, find the third double crochet on the fan stitch and do a single crochet, and we're going to do this all the way down. This is what it should look like, and at the end we're going to end on the fan stitch. So we're going to chain up 1 and we're going to double crochet into that final single crochet stitch, and that will finish this row. Now for our next row, we're going to chain up 2 and turn our work, and this is our double crochet row. So you're going to start with a double crochet into the top of that previous double crochet stitch. You're going to place the next double crochet into that chain space. Now you're going to double crochet into the top of that single crochet stitch, and into the next chain space we're going to start adding 3 double crochet. So here's my first double crochet, my second double crochet, and now 1 more double crochet into that chain space, and we place a double crochet on the top of that single crochet stitch, and this is where the pattern will repeat. So 3 double crochets into chain space, 1 double crochet into the top of that single crochet stitch all the way down. You're going to place your final double crochet at the end into the second chain from that chain up of 3. Once again, you should count your stitches and make sure you end up with the same amount of stitches that you started with before that lace panel. So this is basically what I did. I alternated between increasing rows of the mesh panels with the double crochet rows and non-increasing rows. However, if you find that this isn't giving you enough coverage, remember this is going to be for the front part of our body. You can make all of the rows increasing rows, or you can kind of switch it up. You can do 2 rows of increasing mesh and double crochet rows and maybe 1 row of non-increasing until it is your desired length. I had a total of 8 of those lace panels, and it hit around mid-thigh for me. When we're done, we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work to the side, and like we did earlier, we're going to just place single crochet along the entire perimeter of this dress. So you're going to put your hook in and make sure that the stitches are fairly even, and just single crochet to clean up the edges. Now that I think about it, I guess I didn't really have to do the single crochet along the bust panel, but that's okay. We'll add another layer of this single crochet and really crisp up those edges and make them look nice and clean. So as you can see, I'm just placing this single crochet randomly but evenly, and we're going to go all the way down and go over again that bust panel and just go all the way down along the entire perimeter. Our back panel is just going to be a rectangle, so first you want to figure out where you want the back panel to start. I wanted my back panel to start kind of around my lower back area, so I took my measuring tape, figured out how wide that portion of my front of my dress is, and figure out how much more width I need for this dress to provide me with the coverage that I need. So I determined that the back panel needs to be about 16 inches long to wrap all the way around to the front. Now to start the back panel, we're going to make a slip knot. We're going to be making foundation double crochet stitches, so we're going to chain up 3. We're yarning over and placing our hook into that first chain, making sure to go through the front and the back loop. We're going to pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the top loop, which is the foundation stitch, and then do a double crochet. Once again, we're working into that V-stitch in the back closest to the yarn right there. Let's do another one, yarn over, put your hook into the front and the back loops. You're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the top loop, and then do a double crochet. We're going to keep doing the foundation double crochet stitches. You want to make sure that you have a multiple of 4 plus 1 at the end until it is your desired width that we determined earlier. Now that we did the 2 variations of that lace, you can do a multiple of 4 rather than just a multiple of 8 plus 1. For the next row, we're chaining up 2 and turning our work, and we're going to double crochet into every single stitch. This is going to be the double crochet rows before we start that lace portion. So at this point, I'm going to determine where I want my back panel to be, and this will tell me how many lace panels I need to do so that it matches up with the front of the dress. So I wanted the back portion to be around lower back, and I counted that I needed 5 lace panels. You also want to take note of how many increases you did in that section, so we do the same amount of increases for the back panel. This is what my back panel looks like. It has 5 lace panels, and it has the increases that match the increases of the front panel. So as you can see, there's a gradual increase towards the bottom, and we ended with the 2 double crochet rows like the front panel. To finish off the back panel, we're going to chain up 1, turn our work to the side, and we're going to be cleaning up the perimeter of the back panel like we did for the front panel. So you're going to want to single crochet along the entire perimeter. You're just going to place your hook in and make the single crochet stitches as even as you can. So once again, we're going to continue doing single crochet stitches all the way around. You're going to go down, across, and back down until you meet up to where you began doing the single crochet stitches, so along the entire perimeter. Once we're done, we're going to align the panels together, seam side up. So you're going to line up the back panel with the front panel. You want to make sure that the lace panels join up as well, and then you can use 4 stitch markers to kind of mark off each corner to make sure that it's nice and secure. So as you can see, I have the double crochet rows lined up, the 2 double crochet rows at the bottom lined up, and the 5 lace panels in between all lined up. What you're going to want to do next is you're going to find that corner that you were just working in the back panel, and put your hook back in, and we're going to place our hook into the corner stitch of the front panel. So we were working on the back panel, and now we're going to go through to the front panel and join these 2 panels together with a slip stitch. Now we're going to place our hook into both panels. This is the side of the dress. Make sure that you're seaming up the sides and not the bottom. And we're going to join these 2 panels with a single crochet. So you're going to put your hook into the stitch in the back panel and into the front panel, and then do a single crochet to seam up the side. And you're going to go all the way down until you hit that stitch marker. That stitch marker tells you where the back panel and front panel meet and where the back panel ends. So we're going to just stitch up the sides like so, all the way down to the green. Once we make it all the way down, we can chain up 1, cut and secure the yarn, and that will finish the seaming of one side of the dress. Now it's time to do the other side. So to do the other side, we're going to start off with a slip knot. So we can take one of the stitch markers out. This is the bottom of the dress. And now we're going to place our hook through both stitches, both corner stitches of both of the panels, like so. And then place our slip knot on our hook and pull it through both stitches and tighten. From here, we're going to chain up 1. And now we're going to start doing our single crochet. So you want to make sure you put your hook into both stitches on both panels, and we're going to single crochet all the way down to the other stitch marker, or where the 2 panels meet and the back panel ends, and that will stitch up the second side. We're now going to work on making the drawstring for the back of the dress. This step is optional. I made my dress a little bit bigger in the back because I intend to wear this as a pool and beach cover up as well, and I wanted it to be easy to put on and off. So to make the back drawstring, we're just going to make a very long chain like so until it's your desired length. I wanted a chain that was long enough to go across the back of my dress to make it more ruched, and also be long enough that the ends stick out so that I can tie them to the sides of the dress. So you just want to keep going. You can kind of put it up against your body and keep measuring to make sure that it's long enough. Once we have our strap or drawstring, we can chain up one, cut, and secure the yarn. And now we're just going to weave this strap along the top double crochet row, so along the double crochet stitches. As you can see, my dress is right side up right now, so the seam side is inside. And I'm going to put my hook from the inside to the outside, grab the drawstring, and pull it through. You want to make sure that you leave some of that end sticking out because we're going to use that end to tie the side of the dress together later. So leave a good amount out like so. Now you're going to just keep going and keep weaving that strap through that double crochet row. You can use your hook to help you. And you can also use those double crochet stitches or those little bars to mark off how spaced out you want the weaving to be. So I did 2 bars in between each weaving. So I would weave the strap between 2 bars, then skip 2 bars, and then pull it through again. I hope that makes sense. I think it's easier to kind of look to see what I'm doing. You can also just weave it in wherever and just make sure that it's even. You're going to do this all the way down and leave yourself the same amount of yarn sticking out as you did with the other side. To secure the drawstring, you can use a small bead like I did here. I used a little small pearl just so that it doesn't slip around, and you want to tie off the end with a knot. Now we're going to make the drawstring tie on the front panel so that the back panel drawstring has something to tie to secure it together. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to that front panel and find the stitch that's closest to the seam. So that stitch right there next to the seam. And we're going to place our slip knot and pull it through that stitch. Once we pulled it through that stitch, we're going to chain to our desired length. So you want to make sure that it's long enough that you can tie this to the drawstring tie. And you also want to take note of how many chains you made because we're going to do the same amount of chains for the other side. So I'm just measuring up to see how long it is. Once it's done, you can chain up 1 extra, cut, and pull through. And then to make sure that's extra secure and to add a little detail, I pulled through a pearl bead like so and then knotted off the end. This is exactly what I did with the drawstring portion. It just adds a nice little touch and it'll prevent the chain from coming undone or slipping through. And now we have these 2 ties so that I can tie together and make the back of the dress more ruched or closed off. Now you want to repeat the same exact steps so you can create the tie for the other side, and you want to use the same amount of chains as we did for this tie. We are now going to create the back tie that's going to run along the upper back. So I followed that seam from the peekaboo section and placed my hook into that stitch and pulled a slip knot through that stitch. Now I'm just going to make a chain to my desired length. You want to take note of how many chains you do because we're doing this for the other side, and make sure that it's long enough so that you can tie it around your back. So this is going to go from the front portion and tighten the back. Once you finish, you want to do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to do the tie for the neck. I doubled up my yarn so that it's more secure. This is optional. You're going to start off with a slip knot and you're going to insert your hook into the top stitch of the bust panel and pull the slip knot through. Again, this is front side up, so the seam side is down. And now you're going to make a chain to your desired length. Once again, you want to take note of how many chains you do because we're going to be doing it for the other bust panel as well. And you want to make sure that the chain is long enough that it can wrap around behind your neck and you can tie it to secure everything together. So just repeat that for the other side as well. Now we're going to start on the Picot hem at the bottom of the dress. So to do that, we're going to start off with a slip knot. you're going to place your hook into any stitch along the bottom of the dress, and you're going to pull the slip knot through that stitch. Now you're going to do a chain up of 1, and then we're going to be doing 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and here is my 4th single crochet. And we're going to start the picot. So from here into the 4th single crochet, we're going to do a chain up of 3. Now at the base of that single crochet, we have 2 loops right there. I'm putting my needle through so you can see it a little better. There's 2 loops at the base of the single crochet. You're going to place your hook through those 2 front loops, like so, and then do a slip stitch. So you're going to pull the yarn all the way through those 2 front loops and the loop on your hook. Now you're going to chain up 1 to secure the picot, and then single crochet into the next stitch. And there you have your first picot. We're going to repeat this pattern. So I already did 1 single crochet. I'm going to do 3 more for a total of 4 single crochet. Once we get to that 4th single crochet, we're doing another picot. So we're chaining up 3. We're placing our hook into those 2 front loops at the base of the single crochet right there. And then we're doing a slip stitch. Now to secure the picot, we're chaining up 1, and we're repeating the pattern. We're going to do 4 single crochet. And you're going to do this all the way around until you reach back to the beginning. When you get to the beginning, you can just end with a slip stitch, a chain up of 1, cut, and pull the yarn through, and that will finish the picot hem of the dress. Guys, we finally made it to the end. So once you weave in all your ends, this is what the final product looks like. I am absolutely in love with this dress. I can't believe that this is the first dress I've ever crocheted. I loved how it turned out, and I'm so excited to wear it to the pool or to the beach if it's not too late. I love the peekaboo section. I added some shell details in there. You can dangle a little charm. I think it would be really cute to put a little initial in there as well. The back drawstring makes it really easy to take on and off if you're wearing this to the beach as a cover-up, and overall it's just so flattering. You can wear a slip with this, some nude shorts, or you can put a shawl on top of it to give you a little bit more coverage. But look at how beautiful this dress is. There's just so much texture, and I love the pattern so much. You can experiment with different types of yarn and different colors as well. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye everyone!